Hello everyone and welcome to a Hearts of not Hearts of Iron, an EU4 stream. I'm going to be mostly silent, but this is basically a stream to help anybody who's new to the game. I'm just going to play as France and play slowly and answer any questions people may or may not have. So feel free to jump in and ask a question. I'll probably respond in chat. If it's complex, I will vocalize it. But for now, it's going to mostly be silent. Okay, so basically what I've been doing is all your basic startup stuff. First off, you should find a alliance, which in my case, as France, I found Castile is a good ally. I've started prepping for an alliance with Burgundy with a royal marriage. I've gone into my estates and boosted their opinion of me using the basically the support mechanism, costing me prestige or legitimacy, and then I've demanded support from them, giving me bonus monarch points. That's going to be going away with the next patch. Then I boosted the stability. The reason I did that, for those of you who don't know, is that the cost of stability increases when you're at 1, goes up by 50, gets more expensive, but there's no additional cost between going between -1 and 0 and 0 and 1, so it's always more beneficial if you can be on 1 because you get some bonuses. That way if you lose stability you don't immediately go negative. I've also gone to my armies, I've assigned leaders, I have put out my trade ships to a province, I put them on return to port at war. Some of these might not be options for people if you don't have all the DLCs. I've hired a couple advisors. I can hire, I believe, 3 advisors because I am France. By the way, I'm playing France because that way personal unions and royal marriages are a thing. Otherwise, if I wanted the easiest nation, I'd be the Ottomans. By the way, if you guys have any questions about what I'm doing, why I'm doing, or just any general mechanics in the game, feel free to ask them in chat and I'll type a response or talk. Try not to talk that much. So that's it. I'm going to go on like speed 3 so you can see what I'm doing. So if you have any questions at all, let me know. Oh yes, before I'm done I should select rivals. Let's rival Denmark, because they're not, the odds of me going to war with Denmark are slim. Same thing with the Ottomans. And because I want to kick England out, I'm going to rival England, who's already rivaled me. It's usually a good idea to counter rival your rivals. And now I'm attacking England. England does have allies, but I should be able to win this. I didn't call anyone to arms to help me. I could theoretically call Burgundy, but I should be able to win. Just with my basic troops, doing this so that I don't have the surrender of main truce, basically. Also, I want to apologize for those who have asked questions already. Apparently my chat wasn't working there for a moment. Fixed it now. Am I attacking England? Yes, I'm going to attack it. I could turn up the game volume a little bit, but if I talk, I don't want to do that. Let's see, what else people ask. Why do I rival people I won't get power projection from? I've got power projection from them. Just by rivaling them, you get power projection. There's no point in rivaling everybody around you because they'll all ally. Better to have one enemy you're going to focus on and then rival people a distance away from you. I'm not going to do the Ottomans and get into the HRE. That's not for basic playing. That's for people who are experienced and know how to, you know, flip religions and get small enough to join. So I'm just going to play it easy, slow as France. That way people can see what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. So now I'm trying to cut off England before they land, so that way they're going to get a penalty by attacking me by landing. So this, what I'm doing here, is what's called carpet sieging. Basically, you move a unit into a province, hit detach from siege, and it'll leave just enough troops to siege the province. That way I don't have to march each army into a province, wait, siege it down, move the army on. I can just quickly take it with the bare minimum amount of troops needed. Also, hi everyone who's shown up. So any questions about what I have done so far, or are you guys aware of what I'm actually doing? Because if you're curious, I can explain what I am doing, why I'm doing it. So right there I swapped generals because this guy is a 3 siege bonus plus he sieges faster. Whereas this guy is a defensive planner and only has 1 siege. So the siege will go faster if I don't use that guy. I'm not going to. This is not like me attempting to actually play the game. This is mainly so you guys can ask questions. Why did I attack England first? Because there's an event called the Surrender of Main event. If you do that, you have a chance of either England agrees or refuses. But it's better if I attack because then I can demand more stuff. Because if they agree to the surrender of Mains, I get a peace treaty with them for a period of years. Whereas if I attack and take the land I would have gotten anyway in that war, if they refuse, I can actually get more land faster, because France is pretty key. I picked France obviously because France is relatively stable. If we get to the point where I'm colonizing, I'll explain colonization, but probably not going to get there anytime soon. Because France is one of the later colonizers. Okay, so that was a stack wipe because I had superior numbers of troops, and basically I defeated them before they could even retreat. That's why I managed to wipe out that army. If I can get rid of Portugal's army here, this will become much easier. As it is, I'm already winning. As you can see, I already got the war goal, which I set on a fort province, that way the AI couldn't sneak in and steal it back. And I just wiped out the Portuguese military, which is going to make this much easier. Because even though it appears I'm heavily outnumbered, the AI is not very good at concentrating, plus France starts out with some of the best generals. Yeah. Listen to Quaggersall in chat, he also knows what he's talking about. Basically, by taking land, you have to pay Diplo points for it sometimes. By attacking on my cores, it's different, basically. Not going to get into the detailed mechanics. That's basically why you attack first as France. Also, you'll notice I'm not moving my navy out of the port at all, because the English navy and the Portuguese navy combined are massively stronger than my military. So I'm going to safely stay at port where I can't be attacked. How do I not get burned out about it? I did. I think, let's see, how many hours am I up to now in this game? It's some stupid amount. Almost 4,000 hours. Do I get burnt out on it? Yes, it's why I do one series of Europa and then one series of non-Europa. Also, I just got a really good trait on my ruler. He's now careful, so I get 10% less aggressive expansion. So we'll definitely take as much as we can. Now we've hit a bit of a dilemma though. I am out of manpower, so I have some options for that. I can raise a levy, which I'm going to, which will get me a small amount of manpower at the cost of offending states. The other things I could do are raise mercenaries, which I'm not going to right now. Forgive me if I don't talk much. My throat is absolutely dead, as I'm sure you can hear. trick is to just pace yourself between games. Don't play one game too much. When I play games on my own, you guys don't really see it, but I don't play Europa straight until I beat it. Usually when I record, I do like 2 episodes or 3 episodes a day, and then I take a break for 4 or 5 days and come back. Because you just can't do it every day. Especially what I was doing, which was like 2-3 series at once. It doesn't work. Yeah, I'm probably gonna separate Portugal once I get the chance. I just don't have. I gotta take one of their provinces before I can piece them out, which is also why I went to their capital. Because the AI really wishes to lose. Yeah, it's a stronger tendency for peace if you take the capital because it's worth more. You get plus 4.4 in this case because of how large it is. Basically, capital is usually the most valuable province of a country anyway. Come on, Portugal. What's my favorite Paradox game? Probably this one. I wouldn't play it so much if it wasn't. Okay, so now what I can do is I can separate peace out Portugal, which I could also try and take a Portuguese province. Sometimes I've taken Ceuta down here, which is kind of funny. I could technically try and like take this province, but it would give me aggressive expansion I don't really want right now. So I'm basically just going to piece them out, or maybe I'll get them to annul treaties with England, but basically I'm going to try and demand tons of money out of it. War reparations if I can. Annul treaties with England. I can't do that, so I'm going to actually take the money rather than... Actually, you know what? Let's do that. Let's actually break the alliance because I'm probably going to fight England again. So you'll notice my war score fell because I don't technically occupy the Portuguese provinces anymore. I think the new mercenary companies are going to be interesting. In terms of soundtrack, I don't listen to the soundtracks that much except when I'm in game. I like both soundtracks. I think they're all made by the same person who's really good at it. Okay, so now we've gotten to the point I wanted to have happen. So basically around this time, the War of the Roses will start in England. Actually, oddly enough, England has converted to a Grand Republic. Okay. The War of the Roses has started, which means they have rebels in their country, so England's very prone to wanting peace. As you'll see, there's a -9 to revolts in England, which means they are much more willing to give me peace. Basically, I can retake all my cores, or I can leave one of my cores and take a province in the British Isles, which is usually worth it. I can get Pale up here, which is really strong because it gives me a landing point in England itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to peace out, basically just take that. That'll leave me another province to go to war with England over it later. The key is which province do I want to leave. It wants me to reconquer Normandy, so I might leave one of the southern ones first then. It also wants me to reconquer Gascony as well, so... it really doesn't make tons of difference, does it? I think I'll do the Normandy one first. That way I get some claims on Brittany. Do this instead. That mean I can get anything else out of this? Don't think so. Could have them give some land back to Ireland, Scotland, which might be useful. Can't take it myself. Actually, wait, I might be able to take it. Yeah, I There we go. I'll get 2 English provinces, leave Aquitaine, take their northern provinces. Yeah, it's very rare that they flip over. No, I actually couldn't have taken any of the Wales provinces because I haven't taken this fort. The fort mechanics are weird. Basically, if there's a fort in the area even, it doesn't even have to be zone of control, just in the region, they won't give up. So it's like, if I had occupied all of Portugal except for Lisboa and Evora, I couldn't even gotten these northern provinces that easily. And because all those provinces I took were my cores, with the exception of Maine here, they are all automatically cores. Maine, on the other hand, apparently I don't start with a core at it. Provence does, so I do have to core it. So the standard thing is early on when imperialism doesn't matter, or an absolutism. Sorry, absolutism, not imperialism. You can basically just raise autonomy in every province you take, unless for some reason you need the cash or want to convert it quickly. And it basically means that rebels won't be a thing. So I do it a lot. Some people disagree with that. I find it to be more useful. Also, because this is a province I own now, and since it's a core, I'll just turn it into a state. Because I already had cores, I don't have to pay any extra money to turn it into a state, so I basically just got a lot richer and stronger. And if you've got the mission tree, I think it's Rule Britannia, you get permanent claims on Brittany, which is nice. Brittany, however, is allied to people, so I've also got to keep an eye on my aggressive expansion, which surprisingly seems pretty manageable, because I took cores. So I may attack Brittany, actually. Why did I take Laborde here rather than Aquitaine? First off, Laborde has a fort, which is nice. Also because Spain sometimes gets involved. It sounds really stupid, but I have seen Spain wander in and take 1 or 2 provinces from England while they're really weak. And that can be devastating because then you have to go to war with arguably one of your better allies. Oh, well, this is kind of convenient. Gascony just appeared. So basically, England just released them as a subject. This is about as unbelievable as you get, because Wales also has been released. And everybody else just got independence from England. I have never seen this. Have you seen this, Quagrasol? This is crazy. Basically, this is going to allow me to attack them again immediately. So we will do that. Let's just do your standard stuff. Make sure that the English do not have an overwhelming army. They don't. So that means I can safely move one of my armies into Great Britain. Or reasonably safely. Still never going to be 100% safe. Also, because Scotland likes me, I should be able to get military access and march into England by land there. Now I hate this event. Support, yes. Everybody's getting freed by England. Yeah, basically he broke to rebels occupying too much of his land. Yeah, this would be a very easy game for Scotland, arguably. So, got my fleet in there, or my army and navy up there. So, I'm going to start a war with England again. over Gascony. Actually, wait, can I? I don't think I can, actually. Can I? Nope, I'd have to break truces with England, so actually we're not going to attack them. My bad. But now I have access to the entire Irish Isles, too. I can do a lot up here, which I will start getting claims. I'll probably pick a fight with Brittany, because they're to beat. Setting my war goal for their capital, because their capital is going to be the highest costing province in the area. Make it a little bit cheaper for me to wipe them out. Yeah, I think we can safely say Great Britain is not going to peer this game. If you said Great Britain would give me a peer, I'd kind of laugh because they're fun. By the way, for people who don't play France, these French generals are unbelievably good early on. That's a level 2 general and you get 2 of them, so don't be afraid to use them as France. Plus now I have a morale advantage. So we're going to move in, we're going to carpet siege the heck out of Brittany. So Brittany is desperately trying to raise troops. You can see with the blacksmith here, basically they're fielding them. But because I'm going to have 1 troop in each province, even this one with a fort, even though I can't take it, they actually cannot train troops while I've got a unit in there. So right then and there, even though I haven't taken any land, Brittany is out of the war. It's that fast. So in order to take this, obviously I need significantly more troops. What is the order for that? I always forget the ratio. Oh, I need 6. There we go. Minimum strength regiments. I only have obviously 3. Oh, so we'll continue that siege and get a second siege going. Let's just check and see if there's any. There's a chance of inheritance over here. This guy dies without any new heir. I'm going to be at war with Aragon over Spain. Get another click going. France is ridiculously strong, so that's why they're a good nation to answer any questions about why I'm doing what I'm doing. But if you guys have any mechanics questions, by all means ask. This is not meant to be me just conquering things. Although I kind of do wish this was a Let's Play because this is an amazing start for France. England's still in the War of the Roses, hilariously. Yeah, I clicked in and out of. I considered doing this or like a year later, so apparently that turns them into a Grand Republic. Thank you, Quaggersall, for that little detail. I did not know that. Okay, I need to get to. It's going to be military access from Burgundy. And Diplo points as well. My corruption's not really an issue. Because I started with a positive stability, I really don't have much. I don't have any corruption now that I'm ahead of Diplotech. That's one reason you always want to be positive one stability if you can help it, because it does manage that. These guys are willing to peace out, so there we go. It's everything I need. Take out Brittany. Also, I've got claims on these lands. So there's this event, Last Jousting Tournament. If you get it, take it. It's really good. 10% morale, army tradition, and prestige is really solid early on. Okay, let's see what I can get from Brittany. Got to imagine that I can get something. Also, a tip for new players, remember that even military access takes up a Diplo slot, so I was won over my Diplo relations just because of Brabant giving me military access. They're not going to break that really that often because I'm so strong. So I could take out Brittany, I could vassalize Brittany. I'm honestly almost tempted to just vassalize them. Yeah, it's significantly lower. How do you manage AA as a HRE country? Fabricate claims. Every province you take in the HRE should be have a claim on it, because otherwise the penalty is going to be massive. Let's just double check. I'm really tempted to vassalize Brittany. Yeah, I think I'm going to vassalize them, annex them later. That way I can actually expand in Ireland safely for a while. No. They're going to hate me for quite some time, but that's just how it goes. No, it's not the same AE to eat them and then release, because you still get the AE penalty just to even taking the lands, as far as I'm aware. I don't believe letting it go after Deuce's AE, which is why you don't do it. I can take out these guys, start a war there. All of this, of course, I'm basing off how long it will take me to go to war with England again, which is 11 years. So I should take this mission too. Basically just a permanent claim on already lands I owned, which is kind of funny. A little bit of Burgundy's lands. Also, I've immediately started improving relations with these guys because they're rebellious and we don't want them to be. We want them loyal as soon as possible. You actually are automatically allied with Provence early on. Yeah, good relations with emperors are key. Honestly, being emperor also helps a lot. You're in the HRE. I'd honestly rather take in the 150 Diplo point loss, Quagrasol, rather than actually take the AE penalty. Really, Diplo points are the most useless of points in the game, so having a deficit's not a problem. Plus, oddly enough, I've already focused them, because that's how you started the game. Another army up here and take some more land myself. I can. Yeah, you have a lower chance. You can still get the event, which is frustrating. Hello, Cornwall. I don't think I've ever seen Cornwall emerge on its own offhand. So if you're new to the game, I wouldn't recommend doing this, what I'm doing, stacking ores, but I know what I'm doing, this is fine. Let's get some trade going. Click up here if you use this little sidebar to sort, which is always useful. Oh. Okay, that should be a province taken. Some people might vassalize Ireland and then, like, you know, make a vassal and feed them, but they're not a... I find it's just easier to take Ireland itself. Let's get a claim there. This time the AI was nice enough to give me military access to their own lands. I'll just march in and take over. Also, Brittany's still unhappy, but they are loyal. Okay, so how do you determine with royal marriages? Basically, you should only go up to your diplomatic relations or 1 over, because anything beyond that, losing diplomatic power, its monarch points are worth their weight in gold. To be honest, I should probably break my alliance with the Pope here, except for the fact I might get excommunicated. So I'm not going to. Basically, you want to take ones from countries you want alliances with. It's almost useless to have royal marriages with a nation unless you're also allied to them, or you're playing a, like, let's get personal union game. How do I rule of thumb for building marketplaces? Well, the easy way to do it is you just basically, anything that's above like 2 is a center of trade, or is a massively developed province like Paris. So everything I've built a marketplace on currently is a market town, basically center of trade, which is why I did the ones I did. The biggest bang for your buck. Marketplace gives you 50 trade power. It's better to have a large amount of trade power from existing, because this province right here, due to the natural harbor, it's +5, whereas this province right next to it only is 2.4. This province is in fact even more developed. So that right there is why you would want to. They have the same modifiers. It's just the +5 makes a difference. Thereby, by building the marketplace, you get the most bang for your buck. Anything above 2 usually is worth it. How do I deal with the nobility having tons of influence? You can just take land away from them. If you raise, call a diet, get them some loyalty, then you can take usually a province or 2 away from them. You can hit 100. It takes time for the event to fire, and during that time you can revoke land to get it below 100. Basically, a lot of starting nations. Let's see. Pull up the states. I always forget what this is. This is going to change with the European patch. They're reworking how this works. But, for example, right here. No, that's not a good example. Here's a better example. Here's a trade province that's owned by the clergy, which isn't worth it. So I would much be better off revoking it and then giving it to the burghers at the cost of obviously offending the clergy. Some of the other countries, when they start, I don't think I can actually see their estates, but countries like Austria in particular have some terrible setups. In some countries, you're better off just revoking most of the land and giving them the ones you want them to own. Basically, every trade province, you pretty much want to give to the bourgeois, or the equivalents. So all of these, any province that's a trade province should pretty much belong to your trade estate. It adds a bit. It adds 50% trade power on top of a, marketplace, so it gets even higher. A rough rule of thumb. Yeah, Burgundy has a lot of problems. There's a reason I don't like playing Burgundy. I think the concept of Burgundy is kind of cool. I mean, they have, 3 subjects, but 4 subjects actually. I always forget Nevers. They're just very surrounded by enemies. And they're not nearly as strong as France with just inherent strengths. France has a lot of early game bonuses. Those guys. I'm actually going to take this naval doctrine because I have nothing else to do. We'll do trade power. So if you get to pick between these doctrines, really depends what you're doing. If you're always fighting in the Mediterranean, galleys is not bad if you're going to use galleys. Otherwise, it's terrible. Naval maintenance, not really that useful because your navies are usually cheap already. Trade power is great, especially if you're a trading nation like England, Portugal, or the Netherlands. Capturing enemy ships is pretty useful if you've got a lot of good quality ships but not a ton of ships and you're fighting tons of nations who are weaker. You'll end up with a massive navy that you can't support. So usually the best option is merchant navy. If you're England, you have a separate one like wooden wall. That's definitely the best one. What's the hardest thing to deal with is France. The fact that if you are very unlucky, Castile allies Burgundy and you're trapped. Or you see an English, Burgundy, and Spanish alliance. Those really suck. In the game, if you get a choice between prestige and pretty much anything else, losing prestige is usually your best option. There are exceptions. If you're dealing with legitimacy issues, having negative prestige will kill you. Not having prestige hurts, but if there's anything you can afford to lose, it's usually prestige and then diplomatic points, then legitimacy, and then everything else. So if you should use heavies or galleys, depends where you're fighting. So if we hover over an inland sea like here, it'll say this is an inland sea. Galleys will be more effective here. Basically, within this area or any of the inland seas, galleys are half decent choices, but overall heavies are much better. Don't ever think that your light ships, your barks, or your cogs, your transports are going to do anything in combat, because they really won't. They are terrible. They help, but they won't really sway the battle. Heavies make the difference. Okay, so now I gotta be a little bit careful. Let's see what my aggressive expansion looks like. It's getting up there, ain't it? In fact, a lot of countries could coalition me already, so let's only take one province from this. Or, actually, could I just vassalize? See, I could vassalize and that'd be less of an issue. Really comes down to how much do I fear Aragon. They take one. The only issue is the Irish nations. Might just take one for now. There we go. And there is something to be said for knowing when not to constantly be at war. If you watch professional, like when I say professional, but like the top line YouTubers who play this, they're always at war. The trick is not to always be at war, it's to know when to pick your wars. Yeah, so Venice is a really hard nation. I would rate Venice in the top tier of hardest nations because the Ottomans are coming at you, or Austria is. Venice is really tough. It's right up there with Albania. The only way to survive is Venice, Albania, or anything really within the Ottoman sphere of influence is ally stronger nations. So as Venice, you can do a trick where you go to like a late start and then back to the first start date and you'll be part of the HRE. That helps because if the Ottomans attack you, obviously Austria and their allies will join. Other things you can do as Venice, you can ally Austria and Hungary. That might deter the Ottomans. Even if they attack, they'll be attacking into a strong alliance. If you're like the Byzantines or Albanian stuff, allying Poland, Lithuania, assuming they form, which they didn't this game, is a good move. Basically, Venice is a very hard nation if you want to fight the Ottomans. Also, it's not really apparent from the game, but if you're a trade nation, like Venice, Genoa, any of those, not republics like Florence, but trade nations, you're really supposed to use mercenaries really hard. It's like Portugal, really good nation, terrible at warfare if you just use its native troops. Portugal is one of those nations who gets so much money from trade, you should be using mercs. The Netherlands, if you form it, or just Holland. Again, mercenaries are the way to go. Venice, same thing. I imagine with the new mercenary companies, they will be even somewhat less effective, but also at the same time more effective. If you're new, yeah, you definitely don't want to play Venice. If you're new, brand new to the game, pick the Ottomans, pick France, pick Portugal. Don't pick Spain, Castile, England, Austria, Hungary, Poland, anything in Italy or the Central HRE. You might be able to get away with Bohemia or Russia, Muscovy in general, but there's very few easy nations. Ottomans, France, Portugal, Bohemia are probably the easiest ones. Anything beyond that, you start to have to be able to deal with regional problems. Spain, you have revolts. England, you're fighting France, and you have revolts. Poland, Lithuania, you have your government you fight. Muscovy, you have religion wars. Hungary, you're just weak. And Austria, you have to play a diplomatic game. So you want to learn diplomacy, play Austria. You won't survive without it. Don't go for England next game. It's not worth the pain and suffering. Unless you pick a start where you're out of the 100 Years' War, don't pick England. Castile, you have to know how to deal with rebellions. Because you're going to face a nasty civil war early on. Plus you have to deal with converting North Africa. If you do realize going into North Africa without religious ideas, the third religious idea with missionary strength, it's not really that useful because Muslim provinces, specifically Sunni, which is what you're going to be dealing with in North Africa, have a -2 conversion strength penalty, which means even if you get a religious inquisitor advisor, you're only just going to be breaking even and you'll very slowly convert the Muslim lands. So it's not worth going in there early on. Castile does have the Spanish Inquisition, but you have to get there. Anyway, I am going to stay at peace here for a little bit because everybody in this area hates me and I don't want a coalition with England involved. Technically, England can't join the coalition, but it won't be long until 8 years. So we'll wait 2 or 3 years and then start fighting in Ireland again. Get some more claims. Any other questions while we wait? Because I've put it to speed 5, so pretty much we're just going to sit here for a little bit. Yeah, you can kill off your estates really early on. It's not the worst move, but it's not worth doing. Your estates give you a lot of bonuses. Basically, every 20 years, you can get 350 monarch points of each category from them. Keeping your trade faction around gives you a backup 1 year of income, so that's really useful. And keeping your estates relatively happy in general just gives you bonuses. If you hate estates, you can get rid of it. It's not worth playing without estates though right now. In the future, you won't be able to get rid of estates. So, okay, if you're falling behind in innovation in tech, what can you do to rectify the situation? So first off, if you're not in Europe, because of the institutions, you're going to fall behind. Other things you can do. One, you can stop fighting wars, because usually you end up using a lot of admin points in wars, and diplo points in wars, and if you're hiring leaders, 50 monarch points doesn't feel like much, or 49 in my case, but it builds up. You do that 10 times, that's almost a whole level of tech. It's why that some people always have their heir or their ruler on the field, just because you get them free and you don't waste 50 monarch points, but then if they die, you lose stability. So other things you can do, hire better advisors. If you can't afford better advisors, what you can do is you can mothball your army. See, I'm not going for a min-max game. If I was, I'd probably mothball my army right now because I'm not at war. So there's no reason to have it maxed out. Nor am I facing rebellions, or anyone who's going to attack me is not going to wipe me out in one run. England, for example, can't attack me. So you can almost lower your army maintenance. I mean, I'm making 6.4 gold like that. Fully raised, it's 1.4. If you're at peace, not usually worth having your army raised unless you're suppressing rebels. Okay, what else? Yeah, just basically calm down. How can you keep up with technology? Play in Europe. Play outside of it, you need really good monarchs. France, Poland, Ottoman, and all those nations, which countries should you pick? Pick the Ottomans to start, and then probably France. Another mechanic, if you have it, is drilling your army, which is what I should be doing, to be honest. Drilling was introduced 2 expansions ago. Basically, really good players, like I do, use it as a reserve for troops, because if you've got 5 army professionalism, it gives you a lot of manpower. So basically it's worth doing if you've got the cash. If you're outside of Europe, the only way to keep up in tech is to be large and have really good monarchs. Basically, your monarch is the sole determinant of how strong and how many monarch points you are, barring power projection and level like 5 advisors, because you can promote advisors if you've got the money. So any monarch who's under 8 monarch points, you should get rid of by disinheriting if you can. This is where you need the prestige from. So like this guy here has 9, so he just makes the cut. But if he was like a 6 heir or even a 6 ruler, I would have them abdicate or disinherited to get a better heir. If you're worried about falling under a union, there's a really, really easy way to get around that. Start a war with somebody who's never going to reach your lands, say, I don't know, the Teutonic Order. Be obviously very careful that you don't drag enemies against you, and just fight a war with them, because you can't fall under a personal union if you are at war. Yeah, it's a DLC thing. Basically, you can promote your advisors to +5, but each level gets more and more expensive. So, okay, so the Renaissance has spawned. Oh, not far. Paris is large enough I'm getting it. It could be worth putting some monarch points into Paris after I get to Miltech 5. You see how I've got a 2% tech penalty? Until that it goes above 10, it's still worth taking the tech. If it goes above 10, that's when you want to try and develop a province and get the institution. Obviously, military tech is the priority, so might still not be worth spending military points upgrading your lands, just to even keep up vaguely in military tech. Yeah, if you guys have any minor questions like nations, Quaggersall is pretty good for that because he also does these videos. By the way, Quaggersall, thanks for showing up and helping. Oh, I just missed getting a union over Castile. That's too bad. He was 0 when the king died. So he's in a regency for a while. I don't think I can actually do anything about that. No. But I should get a royal marriage with him in a minute. I forgot I had the Isle of Man. We got 7 more years till I can go to war with England. Oh, here we go. Speaking of heirs, my heir just died. If I die, I might fall under control of Burgundy. We can't have that, because it would be a pain to break loose with Burgundy. So we will quickly... By the way, it says when you do a royal marriage, you only get like a 15% chance of new heir. You also get a chance for a new heir as soon as you make the royal marriage. It's not something the game really explains, but it like rolls for a new heir immediately. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, Austria is really good for diplomacy and HRE mechanics, although next patch they're going to change. Good portion of what I'm talking about will be different once the European expansion comes out. You'll no longer have individual estates and provinces. The interactions are all changing. It's going to be crazy. There. I'm going to pick a fight just to make sure I don't fall under a union. So, oh, these guys are a junior partner? What the heck? Oh, actually I did get unioned apparently. Huh. That sucks. Okay. Time to go break free from Burgundy. Usually that I just missed it, like by 2 days because I was talking. It's too bad. Japan is really strong if you need a nation to play. Anyway, I gotta break free of this. Oh, actually I'm at war with Castile. Interesting. Or, sorry, I'm on the same side as Castile. This is very unfortunate, to be honest. Oh, I can't declare a war on the personal union while the war is being fought over my throne. Oh well, we're gonna stay out of the war and then immediately declare war once the Spanish win. Or maybe we won't, because Castile just got a personal union over Aragon and Naples. Okay, Castile just went from being really weak to being really strong. That's a problem. So, time to find somebody who hates Castile and will support my independence. Basically England, who hates me. Wow, this is a problem. If you're playing in Japan, the easy way is to do the Ashikaga, but that has its own problems. You're better off playing as the purple country at the bottom, or like Oda or something. It's hard though. Oh well. That I've got to break free of a union is going to make this a lot more annoying. Especially because they are in a regency, so it's going to be even harder to break free. We should have superior troops though, and more of them. Mamluk are pretty good, but you have to survive the Ottoman. The Oda are not stronger than Prussia. The nation at bottom, Japan, I'm drawing a complete blank on who they are top tier military ideas. The Oda just have really good generals. That's basically what they do. They have ridiculous level generals. Morocco's the close. So even though I am a union, all I can do is I can't declare war on my own. Internally, I'd function as a dependent country as is, so I don't have to worry about anything else. Most of my diplomacy is handled by Castile. If anyone attacks me, they have to deal with Castile. Being a union is actually not the worst thing in the world unless they get too strong and you can't break free. Oh, thanks for the donation there. If you have any other questions, let me know. So the other nasty thing I can do to Castile is I don't actually have to support them in a war, even though I'm technically involved in the war. I can just run away, leave them to deal with it. So as a player, you can sabotage any overlords you might have. So like if you play as Naples, you don't have to support Aragon in any wars. In fact, you can just stay and build up in your own lands and then attack when they're weak. Oops, looks like I'm going to want to develop my capital a little bit so I don't fall further into debt. The key point if you're ever going to go play in Japan is that swapping to the Japanese nation, you can do it without changing your ideas, but if you change your ideas, depending who you play, you're going to get militarily weaker. Like Japan is not as strong as like Oda or... I can't believe I'm forgetting that name in Japan. I should go figure out who that is. The Shimazu, that's who I'm talking about in Japan, by the way. They are really strong. And their ideas come early on, which makes them even better. So if I had been doing like a Let's Play or something and I got unioned here, it would almost definitely ruin the Let's Play if I was going for a goal. So I would normally restart, but I could show you how to break free. I'm probably not going to attack Castile immediately. I'm probably going to wait until I get defensive ideas. That way my armies are even stronger. Either that or I need nations to support my independence. Like Morocco, like everybody else who hates Castile. Shame I can't get England to help. Ottomans are off to a good start. See, the Ottomans are already killing Venice. Venice is a tough nation. So for this first reform thing here, basically you have a choice. If you're having trouble with nobility, this is a way to reduce it. Otherwise, if you're a small nation, manpower is useful. I'm France though, manpower is not a problem. It takes. No, I'm not a vassal average. I am in fact a junior partner in a union under Castile. The game got a little bit away from me there before I was ready, and basically the one day I wasn't ready, they popped in and stole throne. But I'm gonna break out pretty quickly once I get the chance. I can sabotage the relations as much as possible. Yeah, France's Liberty desires 100. Might be able to get support maybe from someone else. So I'm going broke here. Let's see, what can I do? Oh, I could mothball forts, but we're at war. So let's go talk to my merchants. Get a year's worth of income, that should help. Yep, PU under Castile. Is there any reliable way to vassalize a smaller country that isn't interested? There's only one peaceful way, and that is to ask them to accept vassalization. The only easy country to do that is with Austria. You go both diplomatic. You go down your diplomatic idea, and you just get as much diplomatic influence as possible. Really getting vassals is rather tricky in this game. They should really allow a form of vassalage that changes with the death of the ruler or something. That would be a little bit more historically accurate. Oh well. This war against Denmark is going to drag on for a little while. Oh well. Oh, they've occupied my Irish lands. That might be why I'm going into debt. Not much I can do right here until I break free from Steel, and obviously I can't break free from Steel until this war is over. For now, we sit and we wait, and we sabotage our relationship with Steel at every opportunity. It's a shame there's no way to, like, demand your independence from a nation. Interesting, I can offer vassalization while a vassal myself. That's interesting. Huh. I never really played much as a youth country, so. Basically, because if you fall into a union, it's because you haven't been playing well. In my case, it was unlucky. This is going to, of course, permanently ruin our relationship with Castile. Oh, end of the 100 Years' War bonuses. Free stability is always worth it. Free stability doesn't seem like much, but it's worth either 100 or 150 admin points. So take it when you can get it. Only don't take it if you get like 200 admin points instead. My good generals are dying, which it's about time for them to die. As you can see, much worse generals. I may just dev to the, there we go. Portugal peace stat. Oh, nice. Yeah, that puts me a lot closer. Normally I'd do it this way, but I couldn't afford my army. What's the best way to deal with high autonomy? There's multiple ways. One, you can lower autonomy, but I would never recommend really doing that. Some countries have ideas that reduce it. If you're really desperate, economic ideas, 0.05 monthly. That is really substantial. Aristocratic has half of that under local nobility, so you can reduce it reasonably quickly. So now I've got a choice here. I could theoretically try and declare independence from Steel on my own. It is doable. Probably is not worth trying just due to the fact that as soon as I declare war, they're going to get all their unions involved. So let's actually see how much they have. So Castile, a lot. Aragon has a lot. I could theoretically win it, but it's not worth it right now. I'm going to wait until I'm even stronger. Because Portugal is not involved, but they don't make such a big difference. I need them. Also, I can work on getting England to support my independence. Okay, other things. Normally, if you're deving a province, you want to take an edict. Most people don't use edicts. They're some of the strongest things in the game. They do increase your costs, but if you do like encourage development, 10% cheaper to develop the province. Currently, I'm not doing that because I have virtually no income to spare and I don't want to fall into debt. But it would have saved me 10% of monarch points up to this point. Also be aware of the fact that by owning the lowland countries, you're inevitably going to have the Dutch rebellion unless you culturally convert them away from being Dutch, or their equivalent ones. Yeah, econ ideas are pretty good. You'd be better off though doing other stuff. Oh, I think I got, did I get independence? No, that's too bad. That is very unfortunate actually. I guess I liked them a little too much when their previous monarch died. What part of the map do I think needs more content? Northwestern United States. By the way, somehow I can see some land in North America, which is funny. I don't have explorers. It's probably due to Castile. Basically, a lot of the Native Americans have no ideas. That needs work. Other areas that could use work, Central Africa, basically. So you can see I could take this admin tech. If I took the admin tech right now, I'd have a 13 penalty. If I wait a while, let the Renaissance spread, it'll be much cheaper. And France is good development, so I'll get the Renaissance reasonably quickly. It's worth 800 some odd gold in my land right now, so probably gonna let it spread for a while first. At least to some of my nearby provinces. And we'll flip it. In the meantime, we're going to take cheaper war taxes probably, because we're not going to get free and do any more conquering for a little while. Yeah, that's a little bit frustrating, Central Africa. The fact that it's hard to get across there. There are ways around it. If you ever need to cross that, if you do somehow get them to ally somebody you can conquer, invade their lands, vassalize them, and then you can core out from them. So once they're vassalized, you can then fabricate claims around them and take that land, core it, and then just expand that way, even though there's a gap between your provinces. It's a really sneaky way of doing it. A lot of people use it to hop, skip, and jump their way into Ireland from other places in the map, because Ireland's reasonably easy to conquer. Things to consider. But vassals really break the game if you use them properly. I just managed to sabotage Granada by not doing anything, because Brittany occupied this province. Spain, Castile here couldn't take it. Thus, they can't go down further down their mission tree. Just one of the many ways a union or subject nation can really screw over their overlords. And I didn't even have to try. Also, I'm going to annex Brittany here while I've got the time and the monarch points to do so. Get another, I forget how much development Brittany has, but it's reasonably easy to take them out of the game. 56 development, that's pretty good for this point in the game. For those of you who are wondering why I am not taking this tech here, even though I am losing innovation, trying to get innovation, unless you're trying to do like Bright Spark have 50 innovation, don't try and get innovativeness. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. It's not worth the time and effort focusing it. You won't get anywhere. Because while innovativeness does reduce power costs, it doesn't reduce them at a rate that's like really super strong. Every 10 innovative, you get 1% off points. So right now I'm getting 0.33 off of all point costs, if I remember. 0.3 off. So it's really not saving me that many monarch points that it would be worth taking a 16% penalty. It's more along the lines of, if you deal with the Dutch rebellions, they just keep occurring. It's easier just to culturally convert them. Plus you get more money out of them anyway. Also, can we point out that Granada apparently invaded North Africa because they have 2 provinces there. That's kind of cool. It's a shame I can't get any alliances to help me get rid of Castile. Apparently everybody likes Castile, which is frustrating. Literally everybody likes Castile. I'm gonna have to solo my way out of my alliance with Castile. Or union, rather. So I'm gonna wait till I get Elan and then break free. In the meantime, though, sitting around deving up my land is not a real problem. Sometimes it's nice. I wish I could have taken everyone else out. New king on the throne. Send another insult. We got the Monty Python one. Yep, we're still gonna stay as a union just because Castile is improving relations with us so much. It's frustrating. Oh, that's annoying. Everybody's getting along with each other. That's a problem. Basically, the more in chaos the world is, the better opportunity you have to rise to power. It's pretty standard stuff. Oh, we've maxed out on admin points. Okay, time to spend some. So, rule of thumb, always develop your cheapest provinces first. Basically, only develop your lands if you're trying to get an institution, you're trying to hit like a breakpoint to get another building, upgrade a center of trade, give it to the burghers, or you've maxed out on monarch points like I have, at which case spending some is worth it. Otherwise, unless you've got some ridiculously cheap ideas, it's not worth spending your monarch points to develop your land unless you've got too many of them. Actually, what I am going to do is I am going to mothball my army here. Drilling is nice, but I'm France, so I don't really need tons of manpower. Plus, I've already got enough that I could get 20,000 some odd manpower if I need to. And the additional like 5 gold a month will help get the institution that much faster. Also, before I forget, Alan Wright, if you're dealing with autonomy issues, Tier 3 of the government reforms also has a reduced monthly autonomy. Oh, Castile supporting loyalists in my land. Hilarious. Okay, we almost got out of this, so I'm going to swap focus military monarch points. That way we'll get defensive ideas further faster. I'm actually going to wait a handful of months here. Just so that these couple provinces tick over to 100, so that way it's like a couple hundred gold cheaper for me. France gets institutions relatively quickly for Europe. Is it worth taking loans during a war to get institution than to get military tech? If it's going to kill you, yeah. Loans are not something to be afraid of unless you get too far in debt. Can recover okay from them. Sometimes you want to take loans to get stuff. I'm obviously not. Didn't want to do it there because I had no particular rush. I didn't need the idea then and there to break free, so. And you notice I didn't get the idea, it's instead I got the tech. Usually the tech is stronger than the idea, especially Tech 4, Tech 5, Tech 6, and Tech 9, I think it is. I think those are the super, super good techs early on. Anything that gets you more morale or new troops is worth more than an idea usually. Anyway, now we can focus on both economy and getting ideas. So building in this case, it's a church. Building a church in any province that is over 0.10 is worth doing. 0.1 basically. I'll show you again. So basically, when building any of these that is 0.10 or better is worth doing. France is extraordinarily rich, so it is worth doing. Pretty much everywhere. Basically, racing to get institutions is reasonably useful at all times if you can get it. I really need someone to support my independence here from Castile. This is starting to be a bit of an issue. I don't have good enough generals, even if I could potentially win this. I'll wait till I get a military drill or a lawn, and then I'll just smash Castile and get out. I may even take land from Castile in the war. Depends where things are at. If I get free peacefully, all the better. For those of you who don't know, I usually recommend defensive ideas early on because the 15% morale for military drill. And most people don't realize that the Battlefield Commission helps quite a bit because having Army Tradition does give you morale just by having it. Stacking those two together gets you like plus 20 or some odd morale. It's really good because morale dictates early game. Need to do that, but I did it anyway. Oops. I should have waited to build the force limit until I was ready to break free because it gives me bonus morale, but I'll just do it for now. Also, every time you hire a leader, you do get 1 army professionalism, so it's actually a bit of a investment, which is kind of fun. Not just to get a general, there is a use for it. Sometimes if you got like a couple hundred military points and you need manpower, you can spam it buying generals and then slacken recruiting standards. It's a sneaky little move. Oh, apparently I'm at war. Castile has gotten themselves into another mess. So if I wanted to turn on Castile now would be an ideal time to do so because they're engaged in another war. The problem is Tunis is stupidly weak. 5,000 troops. That's barely, they have no military even worth speaking of. Might be able to get support from independent from Denmark, which would be nice. That's fine. I don't mind if your spelling is wrong. Just if I can understand it, I'll answer it. But if I can't, that's probably why. Okay, we can get Denmark to support our independence. That might be enough to start the revolt against Castile, assuming I get whatchamacallit soon. Military drill. Because Castile does get 15% morale early on, so they are reasonably strong. They basically get defensive ideas without it needing to go down defensive ideas. It's kind of annoying. There's really nothing I can do to these guys. I'm just gonna have to revolt, take the stability hit, and defend. Okay. I've got a half decent king, so that's something. Basically, to win this, I just have to defend my own capital. Assuming Sweden, Norway, and Denmark come to help, this is very doable. I just gotta beat Castile and their allies on the field of battle. No idea where those rebels are going. I imagine those rebels are going on a march all the way around the world. Retreat. Oh, shoot. They're ready for me. Oh, nope, they're not. Okay, that was a mountain. They would add the defensive bonus, which is why I ran away. Need a better advisor. I need an advisor that gives me discipline or morale. Until I get one, it's pretty much useless. A military advisor. Discipline. Ooh, that's expensive. I'm gonna try it anyway. Here we go. Should hopefully win this. And nope. Well, probably dead. That means I can't beat them on the field of battle. So I'm gonna actually lose as France. This is what happens when you try and do stuff too quickly. I should potentially have an option here. They just have too many troops. And it doesn't look like Denmark's going to come to help at all. Like, I haven't seen any of their troops. Well, it's a problem. Might be able to do something, but 46,000 troops is a problem. Can't easily beat them on a field of battle. But we do have free war taxes, so let's at least get that going. I'll try my best, but we're probably dead. Unless I can get a better general. It's not really that good. It's better than what I had. This is where good generals would have made the difference. I'd have won that if I had had a better general. My only hope now is as they invade, they're going to end up splitting up their armies. They have rebels. Oh, Morocco gave me some cash. Shame they won't help me in the war, though. I'm going to try siege while they're away, but... The odds of me succeeding in this are extremely low, because that one battle showed me what would happen. I guess exploration. France really can't get to the New World for a long time, but I might as well start building towards it. Run away. Nope. Well, gonna lose another battle here. Oof, just escaped the stack wipe too. That was close. They were ready for me. So here's the problem, is now that they've just marched in, I can't kick them out very easily. Best I can do is go after these armies. Still, they've got a lot of troops there. Oh, that's actually lucky. Got to fire 2 guys. All I have to do... Oh well, they've actually invaded and conquered Paris. I did not even see that. That is dumb of me. I've got to go save Paris. Apparently Denmark and Norway aren't going to help because they're not doing anything. The funnest nation to play as? Russia. Russia's just a fun nation to play with. It's not really hard. You've got manpower for days. You can build pretty much pure infantry armies. It's fun enough that they're amusing to play, but they're also easy enough that you don't have to worry about getting crushed by messing around. Russia, for sure. So basically I could get out of this war if I gave some land to Castile. I'd still get my independence, but I'm not about to do that. I think once I can retake my capital, I've got a much better shot. Oh, for now we're going to continue the war. There we go. They still want a lot, don't they? Greedy, greedy, greedy. AIs in this game really don't know what a good peace deal is, so they just try and take everything they can get. Don't expect to be able to do the same versus AIs. The AIs always get better peace demands than you do. It's really, really a problem. Really wish Denmark would come out, Denmark or Norway. I suppose I could try and get military access, but it seems surprising they don't have it. Double check this. I think they've just not coming to help me. Access to there. Suppose I could try and buy military access out for them, but see, luckily a lot of people like me. You know what, that's what I'm going to do. Try and see if I can buy military access for Denmark and Norway. And Sweden, of course. To them to there. If I can get them in the war, this will go in my favor, I think. First, this is going to kill my low relations for a while. There we go. You should have military access now. Tick, tick, tick. Where am I missing it? Weird, why can't I? Oh wait, these guys are independent, that's why. There we go. Now I should have military access to Denmark, yeah. There we go. Denmark's on the move. Only killing my Diplo points, but got a new heir. Gonna lose that battle horrifically. I'd started that battle knowing I'd lose just to force Castile off that fort. There we go. Here comes Denmark. Anything from Sweden? No, but we're gonna get some from Norway. And we're in debt, but that's pretty normal. How many streams have I done this week? Like 5. I've got free time, so I've been doing streams. Why not? The AI knows I'm going for this fort. See if I can force him off of it. Ah, they're still too strong. This is getting a bit ridiculous. We're still killing more of their troops than lost, but they're winning the war, and that's really what matters. Now, if I'm right, I can win that fight. Yeah, because the AA is so close to sieging that. Yeah. So if the AI is really close to winning a siege battle, they won't leave the fort for anything. It's kind of a bit of a cheap way to get a ton of way to trick the AI into losing a battle. Of course, it still doesn't solve the problem as I just can't fight them. It's a slightly better general than I had. Basically, I'm spending all my monarch points just to try and get a good general. And that guy's actually half decent. Hey, level 2 general. That'll make a difference. To the forts, everybody. To the forts. What I think about Ulm? Ulm is totally useless. Should we go for Africa or New York at the beginning? Or the New World in general? Depends on who you are. There we go. Won that fight. If you're Castile or Portugal, going for Canada and 13 colonies is not really worth much. If you're Great Britain, France, or the Netherlands, going for North America, it's good. But the Caribbeans are the big prize. You want to take the Caribbean as fast as you can. Caribbean is the goal of colonizing, really. It's rich, it's well developed. You get a ton of money for the provinces you're going to get. It's worth it. Whoa, what's going on here? What the heck? Where did Aragon's army come from there? That was unexpected. I'm not going to get there in time. Yeah. We'll win the next battle. So out of manpower. Gotta imagine Castile's out as well, though. But they've got another 20,000 men marching in because of Aragon. The AI subjects just send troops endlessly. It's rather kind of stupid. Wish I could get Portugal out of this. Not yet, apparently. Wow. This game does not want me to win. I am totally dead. I'm pretty sure. I don't think I can win this. I can white peace, but I'll still remain their subject. If I give them a province, can I give them a province and then get my independence? No, that's going to keep me as their subject. Great, we're just going to have to keep fighting and dying until something happens. Or that happens and I get stack wiped. Yeah. Well, I did say I wasn't going to try that hard on this stream, and I haven't. So that's how you lose as France. I might just go back and play this again as France normally so I can show you what I normally do. But if you guys got any more questions, now's the time to ask it, but I'm gone. If you want to bring Indian spice trade, you want to go for Africa. You want to get the coast there, the Guinea coast. There's a lot of trade there. There's no point in doing it elsewhere. Anyway, I'm just going to go back to the menu and probably start another stream or continue this one. But for now, that's it. Okay, I'm going to try, I guess, another stream, and then we'll do that. It depends what you want there, Epic Wing. I'd say North America. Indian spice is not worth much in this game. Not till late game. Okay, hopefully this works and I'm back. I guess I'll just play another country for fun, because no one's asking any really useful questions anymore, so... Whoops. Falling out of my chair, one moment. There we go. Assuming that works, yep. I guess I'll pick a country. I don't know what. Maybe Ottomans? I don't know. Maybe I'll just do random nations till I find something fun. None of these are fun. Oh yeah. I don't want to play in India. There are worse areas to play, I suppose. Oh, why don't you guys come up with a country for me to play for a little bit, and I'll actually show you me taking a game seriously for a bit, because that was pretty sad losing as France there, but that was mainly because I was an idiot. I'll be back in like 2 minutes. Just gonna get up and walk around while you guys come up with something. You know what? I think I'm actually go with probably recommend that, and Poland it is. Actually, I don't. Oh well, what the? Put it in. Not gonna talk about it. Okay. Not gonna talk that much during this, but I will answer some questions if you guys have them. But basically, this is just gonna be me playing for you guys to watch. It's actually easier in some ways if you don't PU Lithuania, because then you don't get stuck with the stupid Seldom government. I've done it before. It's not really entertaining. Just you play like everybody else. You just ally Lithuania. You just don't union them, and you use them to defeat the Teutons anyway. The only difference is you're not stuck with Lithuania's endless rebels, basically. Oh, thanks for the donation. Yeah, I might do a little bit of that. I don't usually play much with Poland, so I'm not really up to date on all the Poland personal union mechanics, but I know you can do it. Depends on how you handle rebels. if they're easy to squash and they're constantly going to keep rebelling, it's probably worth letting them spawn and beating them. You have to have excess manpower, a good army, and not have enemies bearing down on you. If you want to repress them, that gives you absolutism, which might be worth a lot more than having to fight a stack of rebels, even if it does cost you military monarch points. It's a personal choice. By the way, if you're farming... Oh, I can't show you here. Basically, if you're farming military absolutism using military monarch points, and you're most nations, Poland apparently is in it. Nope, Poland's here. Okay. You want to get to conquer the new states, save that. It gives you 33% cheaper. Makes a big difference. So, moment here. Apparently, I'm at war. Not really. There's really no way to slow down the Ottomans. I suppose you could try and constantly support rebels, but rebels, virtually in all Paradox games, are pathetically weaker than they were in real life. That's basically it. I mean, if you were massive, like France, and you owned a ton of stuff, you could try allying the Mamelukes, and that might deter them. Sometimes you can ally, like, Poland, Lithuania as small nations and try and deter them, so yeah, assuming the AI could do that. But I've only seen the Ottomans lose like 5 or 6 times versus the AI, so it's pretty rare, especially if you don't get involved. I actually did a video on the ridiculous Ottoman collapse. That was exciting to see, but I haven't seen it since. I'm gonna actually let a different dynasty take over because my 1-2-2 era is absolutely horrendous. And there's the war. Nice and easy. It's a shame they didn't actually bother to get more of it, but they did take Konsberg, so... I guess that's the best I could have expected. Especially because now they're a vassal, which is nice. Of course, they're also wanting freedom, but hey, that's just kind of the way it goes, I think. But now I can get claims on these guys, and in 11 years wipe them out, basically. Might actually be able to go after the Livonian order first, actually. Let's see. What's the criteria? Gotta keep Lithuania less than 58 cities. I could attack these guys again. Could attack these guys for like a year, and then it would be them. Yeah, let's do that. Another war with these guys. Truce breaking for days, basically. Truce breaking without losing stability is the way to go if you can pull it off. Basically, you fight the Ottomans, you either succeed big or you fail big. There's very little in between, I find. Either you beat the Ottomans and you take tons of their land, or it's a struggle and you barely get a white piece or to die. There doesn't seem to be a middle ground where you win one more, then you lose the next, then you win again. It seems to be once you win, it's all downhill for them. If they win once, it's all downhill for you usually. Oh yeah, an AI Ottoman player is arguably one of the most horrific things in the game. Maybe a human Spanish player could beat a human Ottoman player, but it would be tough. Mainly just because Castile gets so many stupid clans and unions that can become unstoppable. But basically, always ban Ottomans in multiplayer games. Rule of thumb. For those of you who are curious why I did what I did there, sometimes Sweden and Denmark get involved if you don't cut off sea access. These guys are now surrounded and pretty much can be picked off at my leisure, so it's just a matter of time till they're gone, which it wouldn't be if I had left a province free to them. Usually you should go after AIs in multiplayer games because the AI tends to be much weaker when there's just when there's human players, because the AIs don't make all the smart decisions human players would make, so they really don't see their deaths coming. And it's much easier to beat the Ottomans late game than it is early game. Much easier because they're a lucky nation early on. They stop being a lucky nation. 1550 or is it 1600? One or the other. Pretty early on, and it makes a big difference. Oh, that is actually almost tempting to vassalize these guys. Fortunately, I don't think I can't do it because of size, but it'd be really tempting to take their lands. I suppose I could in them. Well, that means I'm inviting Muscovy to take them over, so probably not. Weird stuff can I do? Next year I could probably do that. Ignore Denmark. Yeah. Next year we'll probably finish them off. Let the war drag on until then. Later, average. Really depends how weak Russia gets if they go in there. Also, thank you for the donation. I actually don't know about that message there, so you'd either have to explain it to me or just hopefully other people know what you're talking about. I love how I'm developing my capital, even though I'm going to change capitals in a little while. It's kind of amazing. Poland always has manpower problems, so I'm probably actually going to take the manpower modifier. Usually I take tax, but Poland's surprisingly poor on the manpower front. Just for a nation historically of farmers, they have 1 manpower in a lot of provinces. Developing lands early to mid game gives you a lot. Trade is most understanding trade gives you a lot. Trade is pretty useful. The trick is getting trade. Like once I annex the Danzig up here, I'm probably going to swap my trade up into the Baltic Sea trade node out of the Polish node, even though I control more of the Polish node, just because the Baltic node is more valuable in general. That makes sense. I'll explain a little bit more once I get there, but basically that node's worth 5.6. This one's only worth 2.7, so it's not very useful. Renting out your troops? I don't really like renting out your troops. I tend to just mothball them. Best way to keep trade in your node is to control trade up node and down node of where you're collecting, which is obviously easier said than done. But if you can pull it off, you can usually save a lot. The more trade power you have, you can also do trade steering. As part of peace deals, force people to send you your trade. That's basically it. It's pretty tough. Basically, the trick is just to control tons of the trade so no one else has any power to pull it. Unify your whole node, control the node above you, stuff like that. Deving with ducats would be too strong. It really would be, because there's certain countries, like, I don't know, Netherlands, England, Portugal, you can just make way too much money. Same thing with the Ottomans, they just get way too much money. That's why you can't dev with it. It'd be kind of nice if there's some way to like vest it to get more monarch points, but usually that's not an option. If it is, it's almost always worth taking when it's up, but it's such a rare event.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with deving trade node to get it, but usually it's hard to find people to sell it to.
Maybe buckets could be a thing, or maybe you could just invest in prosperity. That would also help because prosperity does reduce it as well. The trick with deving a province to then sell it is you've got to get allies you can sell it to, many of which I usually find tend to get it before you, otherwise you're conquering them. So, bit of a struggle there. Looks like Denmark's invading this area, which means I'm going to get to fight a war with them at some point, which could be kind of cool. So some of you may wonder why I just spent all my monarch points developing a province I just got, but as a 10% cheaper development cost, I stacked another 10%. But when I shifted over, it was going to give me like 1 or 2 in each category. So what I did was I massively developed it as fast as I could quickly so that those bonuses actually saved me monarch points I would have spent later deving the province, if that makes sense, because I would have lost. As development goes up, the cost of development goes up, so it would have gone up by like 5, 6 or more each category. So I saved myself some monarch points. Besides, I can't buy the institution yet anyway. Some of that could be interesting. Also, I didn't know the queen did an address. That's pretty good. Good for her. Yeah, upgrading advisor helps a lot, but upgrading advisors only helps when you can afford the long-term cost, not like a one-time cost. That's the downside I see with that. I know I have this subjugate the knights claim. I think I'm just going to wipe them out though. I don't really see the reason to keep them alive. At least early on. I think it'd be better for me to get rid of Danzig and just take over Prussia entirely. quality is usually better in the long run. Oops, we're gonna have to deal with some rebels here. I'm gonna turn this down, the proposal here, because I don't want to have to deal with this mess. Of course, I gotta squash a huge pile of rebels, but I actually have troops and manpower to deal with it for once. Plus, they're taking attrition, which is also kind of cute. Seems odd they'd be taking attrition in Polish provinces, but I won't question it because I want that non 5% tech penalty. But now we've hit the whole point where Poland has endless revolts forever, it seems. Talk about a country that was destroyed due to internal rebellion. Or internal strife, rather. I've done a little bit of collaboration with Quaggersall and Lusitanian, playing some Hearts of Iron stuff. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to collaborating with them, but I don't know them, and they haven't reached out to me. I mean, if I did, I'd probably try and do something with them, but having not had any contact with them, it seems a little bit weird out of the blue. Plus, I'm still a rather small YouTuber. So yes, I've done some. Did I do more? Yes. I'll try something I don't usually do. I'm going to go aristocratic ideas on a nation, just because I know Poland is cavalry, and this is kind of a cavalry one anyway. Besides, Poland's got good military ideas regardless.
Some of Vicky 2 could make it into it.
But I don't think they could integrate it fully. It would be more EU4 than Vicky, so I don't think people would like it that much.
I tend to stream Saturday afternoons if I've got free time, but a lot of times I'm busy.
Tips to expanding rapidly in the HRE. Vassals. Vassals and unions. Vassals are really the best. Really definitely the best at doing that. Sounds kind of like a cop-out saying vassals, but it does make one heck of a difference. It's less aggressive expansion in basically everything. Yeah, basically vassalize things and then annex them because your AE is less. You get troops, especially if you're a small nation. The HRE the three troops that even a minor small nation gets is a huge difference. Kind of applies in Italy as well. Anyway, that's my tip there. I'm going to vassalize the Livonian order. Let me check. Nope, I'm just going to outright annex both of them. I was going to vassalize them, but then I'm realizing it's just going to be easier to take it all. To get as much cash as possible. There we go. That's a pretty large Poland to start with. Progress is being made. Oh, Sweden's trying to get its independence. It's pretty early. Oh, they have the support of Novgorod, but I can't imagine that's going to make a big enough difference. Oh, well, I think Sweden's going to die here.
Yeah, you can do it, but Humanist is not the best choice, honestly, for them. I don't usually start Humanist. Humanist is not as good as Religious now. It'd almost be worth doing more Religious. I'm on the east coast of the US, so I tend to stream around 3, 4 on Saturday afternoons if I have time. If people watch them, I do silent streams more often, but I can't talk that much even now, so.
Well, if you're going for world conquest, you can't take any ideas early on that strengthen your military. If you want to do a world conquest, you have to start admin ideas. Then you have to do diplomatic. You either have to actually wait. Try and remember. No, if you want to do a world conquest, depends where you are. If you're not in Europe, you want to go religious ideas because you want Deus Volt down here first, then diplomatic, then admin. If you're in Europe, like the HRE, you want admin first, then diplomatic, then religious, if I remember. Basically, you don't touch military ideas until you get stuff that help you, until you've gotten everything that reduces province cost and coring costs, then an ability to fight wars with anybody. And then you kind of go quantity, if I remember. I've never done a world conquest, mainly because I get bored about 2/3 of the way through it, give up. But that's, from what I've seen and read, that's what you do. Yeah, Eastern time, Eastern Standard Time. There are a couple tricks for the Empire of Man. Same with some of the other ones. I've never done it, but basically you play as Great Britain, obviously, to release them. But basically, you release them as a vassal, give them all your land, and you release them, get really close to annexing them, give them all your land, basically, except for your capital, annex them the next day, then release them and play as the release subject with all the English cores. And then you declare war on England as them, conquer England, like take London or something. That's all they're going to have left. And then you basically just play as England, but you play with the Isle of Man ideas. So that's the trick as far as I've been told on that one. Ugh, Poland would be so much easier if you had a gold mine, I have to say, because the economy is terrible. How you beat the Protestant reforms as the emperor? So I'm going to assume you're either playing as Austria or Bohemia, because basically trying to unify the HRE as anybody else is impossible. Just in the current state of the game. Can't even really do it as Brandenburg or Saxony or Bavaria. Basically, you want to find out where the religious target is. If you're lucky, it spawns within the HRE. Basically, if it does, you declare war on the person who has it as soon as it appears before it can really spread to anywhere. Oh, I could actually vassalize back. I think I'm better off just taking cash right now. But a vassal. Oh. I'll just take cash. I really am tempted to make them a vassal. I can't make them a vassal. Okay, never mind. Oh wait, I can, but I can't do that. Denmark, Teutons, Hamburg, Limburg. Yeah, you know what? We're gonna vassalize Lubeck. Got two really good allies, and then we finish off these guys. Actually, we don't. We wait a year or two, and then good idea. Let's not get killed by a coalition just after finishing off the Teutons. I haven't done two Arab Timor or Eat Your Greens yet, mainly just because I don't. I've lost a lot of my will to play EU4 outside of Let's Plays these days. So as two Heir of Timor, basically you just have to chain truces and wars, and then once you get strong enough, you just start truce breaking on everybody and ignore coalitions. Once you hit a certain size, usually about a 2,000 development, coalitions are irrelevant. Not sure how much that'll help you, because pulling that off is still hard, but basically that's what you do. As Eat Your Greens is Kale, basically, you just have to do what you do as a standard nation. Couple vassals, grab a lot of land, basically run your country with a like losing money constantly, maintain an army above your size, have good allies, always be at war and conquering things. That's basically how you do it. I probably wouldn't do a stream. I'd probably do a series. Just because for an achievement like that, everything's such touch and go, I'd probably use backup saves if need be. And it's just also talking to you guys, as much as I like doing it, I devote like half of my attention towards chat and stuff. I'd have to do it without looking at you guys, without reading any of your comments, or really without talking. It would be that much focus. Probably not as a stream. Maybe as a video. Maybe. We'll see. Well, that's why I usually save before each episode if I do a series. If I know I'm going to be in trouble, so I can redo it. If I do a stream, I make one mistake, I'd have to just keep restarting, so it wouldn't be as fun for you guys. As you saw with the France game, things can just go really wrong out of the blue and you lose. So Probably wouldn't be that exciting for us, me having to restart over and over and on a stream. So a series would probably be better for that. Hi, Black Cat. You've wandered into this. Nice to see you. For those of you who are wondering why I'm just keeping this war going once I've won, it's to avoid to let AE tick down so I can actually take it without a coalition. Just like that. I'll be like 50 on all these guys, but I won't actually have enough for a coalition. In case you were curious what I was up to. I'm talking a little bit, but I really do need to stop. It's just hard to answer people's questions without talking. Basically, though, I'm going to shut up now if I can and just do the rest silent. I'll probably do like 20-30 minutes more and then I'll stop. Oh, I think you just did in chat, so I don't need to do it on my own. Basically, high relations you have with people, less likely they'll form a coalition anyway. I think barring somebody donating, I'm just going to be quiet for the rest of this stream. Something complex comes up, just because I have no voice left.
Okay, I said I wasn't going to talk, but somebody has asked a question about army composition. So basically, there's some guides out there about it, but basically I'll try and distill it, come down to the basic stuff. Basically, cavalry is based around, like, you want majority infantry in your armies, and you want a lot of artillery, but you really don't want more artillery than you have infantry. Kind of like a 2-to-1 ratio. You want twice as many infantry as artillery, just so that once your infantry breaks, you don't lose all your artillery instantly. For cavalry, though, you only care about the flanking range, which early on I think the ratio is something like you want 6 cavalry most early on to flank. Later on it's 8, then 10, and I think it maxes out at like 12. I could be wrong at the higher number. Basically, anything more than 12 cavalry or so is entirely useless. Their only real purpose is flanking, although slight difference on like the hordes where you want pure cavalry armies, and as Poland, obviously, more cavalry helps. But basically, that's it. Artillery is mainly used for sieging forts, cavalry for flanking, infantry for the actual fighting. However, you could look just on, I think there's at least 1 or 2 guides on that on Reddit. They go into much bigger detail. They even break down what units are strongest at what point. But that's my rough understanding of it all. Okay, that was a pretty awful move I just pulled on Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. They are going to suffer horribly for that this war. Okay, that's going to be it for today. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. Hopefully it's helped some people. May or may not continue this game. Probably not. Thanks for watching. Go on another video. Bye. Or stream. For some people, are you guys going to complain I think it's a video? Stream. Later.